Alrighty, folks, it is June 10th. We've had some more awesome cards spoiled, so we gotta go through the spoilers for today and yesterday just to touch on the awesome cards that we've seen. And there is a ton of value in this set. Now, this number is a bit inflated, 1,145 bucks. It's because we got like 10 versions of Teferi for sure. But point is, yeah, for a core set, this thing is blowing all expectations out of the water. But what's cool about like today and yesterday, we're starting to see some of the archetypes solidified, seeing some of those signpost gold cards spoiled as well. And the most exciting thing about today is that Garruk is back. Garruk, he coming. Garruk, he coming. These names are too good. His +1 gives a creature +3/+3 and trample. -2 creates a 3/3. And then if an opponent controls more creatures than us, he gets a counter back. So it's only really a -1. Then his -7, his ultimate's kind of dumb. Create an emblem. On your end step, search your library for any creature and slam it onto the battlefield. So it's yeah, it's kind of good. I don't know why these have different names unless they were spoiled in different languages. That would make sense. That would make sense. I don't know if that's the case. These artworks are both pretty sweet, though, I gotta say. All right, Valoris Steed. This is pretty similar to that, was it Dominaria? And then Core Set 2019, right? You play the one thing, it comes with a knight. This was pretty solid in Dominaria, not as solid in Core Set 2019, if I'm remembering that correctly. Curious to see how well it plays in this set. But a 3/3 with Vigilance, it's been growing on me the last couple sets for whatever reason. Furious Rise, a reprint from Theros Beyond Death, again just solidifying that the 4 power matters, especially for that red-green archetype. And then we get a 7/3 for 5 mana. Not a huge fan of it, but we have seen some ramp for this set. You get this thing down on turn 4, and your opponent can't deal with it. That's gonna be pretty good. I don't know how good the 3 toughness will be in this format. We got to see how many creatures on low curve, in that low curve space, have 3 power, or how much removal could take care of it. But a 7/3 for 5 mana at common could be a problem. All right, Hellkite Punisher, 7 mana, gets us a 6/6 with flying, and it has fire breathing. The fact that it doesn't have haste, I feel like most dragons lately have had haste when they're this expensive, but it is only an uncommon, and it's still going to be a huge problem for whoever is facing it. Heartfire Immolator. This is our 2/2 with prowess, 4/2, so a nice little low curve play, but then we can also sack it to deal damage to target creature or planeswalker. I wish it could hit a player. Maybe that's a bit too much to ask for, but uncommon, right? I could see it, sack it, deal that damage to any target. Either way, I'm sure this will be a pretty premium play, especially in that blue-green deck, Spells Matter deck. Goblin Arsonist, nice reprint. How far back does this thing go? Rise of the Eldrazi. I like it. 1/1 when it dies. Damage any target. Probably going to work really well in that black-red sacrifice deck. And now we're getting into some of the ridiculous spiciness. My Firesong and Sunspeaker deck, 100% getting this in it if I pull one. Fiery Emancipation. The artwork looks pretty epic for 3 and 3 red. If a source you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, whatever, triple that damage. What is the extinction card from... what was it? Ixalan, 20 damage to any creature. Slap this thing down. Firesong Sunspeaker, gain a gazillion life. Wow. That's not obviously the most optimal play with it, but that's probably what I'm going to be doing with it. I'm excited about that card. Transmogrify. Artwork's cool. For 4 mana, exile target creature. That creature's controller reveals top cards of his library. Put a creature card onto the battlefield. So if you can scry something good there, awesome. If you don't, I mean, I'm imagining you want to do this to yourself if you know it's coming, or if your opponent has something really good and you're hoping it's their best bomb, this could be decent removal for it. It is nice to have that flexibility. That can be any creature. It doesn't have to just be yours, and could save you in some instances. All right, Frantic Inventory. Is this a reprint? No, this is the first of its name, but not the first of its kind. Right, draw a card equal to the number of cards named Frantic Inventory in your graveyard. So, or draw a card, then draw extra cards for each copy in your graveyard. Not terrible. We'll have to see how well the blue-green draw cards matters archetype is supported, and if this just ends up being a good play in other blue decks as well. Remains to be seen. Now we get the gold signpost card for the red-green archetype, which I really like. I mean, this card feels like it could be awesome for limited. You can tap it, add green for each creature controlled power 4 or greater. Now, something to keep in mind is you can tap it it itself produces 1 green, but you can tap it and use its mana for its other ability, which is 7 and a red. It deals damage equal to its power to target player or planeswalker. So this thing comes down. It's a 4/3 for 4, not terrible value there, but then it also puts your opponent on a clock because now you can just ping them for 4 every turn after the turn it comes down. Like, that's pretty good. Or just blow up a planeswalker if it needs to. Wait, what was his name? The red-green scream. Yeah, nailed it. All right, now we get a blue-white flying matters type of counter spell. For 1 and a blue, it's like a bad spell pierce. Counter target spell, and its controller pays 1. But then if you control a creature with flying, they got to pay 4. So, remains to be seen how fantastic this is. I guess I didn't realize there was a bird in the artwork too, but it makes sense because it'll fit with the blue-white flying archetype so well. And now here's the card that I think a lot of people are really excited about, especially if you're a Goblin fan. Conspicuous Snoop. 2/2 for 2 red, who cares? And Goblin decks are typically mono red. So for 2 mana, play with the top card of your library revealed. You may cast Goblin spells from the top, and as long as it's a Goblin card, Conspicuous Snoop gets all those activated abilities. Seems very interesting. And the artwork's pretty fantastic. I like that face pushing up against the glass. What's inside? All right, next is Kick Your Aspen. Interesting. He seems just very angry. But this card is kind of bonkers. It's a 2/3. On your turn is a 4/5. Because whenever you draw a card, it gets +2/+2 till end of turn. I'm assuming Opt is going to be in this set. If it's not, but I'm assuming some... All right, we have to have something that's an Opt-like effect, right? And then this card is going to love those cards in your deck. Because you gotta think, it's a 4/5, draw an extra card, now it's a 6/7. If you get some additional card draw going on at instant speed, this thing can be a win condition out of nowhere kind of attacker. Next card, Snoozy Boy deserves a nap. Look at him just chilling, snoozing, because he's a snoozy boy. He's a 3/3 defender, but if we control that creature with power 4 or greater, now he can attack. He gets all excited when his big, strong friends come to the party. And 2 drops, Ikoria's shown me especially how important those early plays are. Granted, we're not mutating in the set, but a 3/3 with defender seems pretty decent. For limited, at least. All right, now Riddle Form, another reprint. Is it from Hour of Devastation? Is the artwork given away? It is Hour of Devastation. Got it. Again, blue-white flyers whenever we cast that non-creature spell, which blue-white typically has plenty of access to. This could also work in that red-blue deck as well. Becomes a 3/3 flyer. I do actually really like the 3 mana scry one, because you can keep that mana up. They're wondering, is it a counter spell? Is it some kind of interaction? Even if you don't get a chance to cast anything, or don't have anything to cast, you can still scry one and smooth your draws out. Doesn't hurt there. And then Light of Promise. This is an all-in kind of good or bad card. Still hesitant to see how much life gain is really in this set, because I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it's a 2, it costs 2 and a white, so 3 mana for an enchant creature that does nothing for the creature unless you gain life. It doesn't give the creature lifelink, which is kind of a bummer. But if you start gaining life, that creature gets out of hand ridiculously quick. So definitely feeds that all-in kind of feel, but remains to be seen how good it is. We do have a land that when you play it gains you 2 life. That's kind of nice. If you can play this, play your land, creature's already got +2/+2 on it. Go to town. Next is our steal the creature, so gather the healing quartz. Oh, because he's stolen all the gems. You gain control of target creature, untap it, gains haste, blah, blah, blah. But this one also gives you 2 mana back, which is kind of nice that you get some of your resources back, play some other stuff, get your combat tricks at the ready. Could be good, especially in that black-red sacrifice deck. Steal their thing, attack them with it, sacrifice it. Always feels good. Then we get Warden of the Woods, probably one of the best green uncommons for that late game bomby goodness. Just a big fan of a 5/7 with Vigilance. That's going to be brutal to get through. And then whenever it becomes a target of a spell or an ability, you may draw 2 cards. It doesn't just replace itself, it replaces itself and then some when they do try and burn it down with some removal spell, as it is ready for drawing 2 cards whenever it's targeted. Imagine they target it and then you can still keep it alive or something. Ooh, that would feel so good. Okay, next is Garruk's Mega Beef Backside. And this is, again, reinforcing that 4 power matters for the red-green deck, or really just green deck at this point. Creatures you control have trample. Whenever you play that creature with 4 or greater, you get to draw a card, and whenever it enters the battlefield, when this enters the battlefield, you draw a card. So that's pretty nice. It replaces itself. That makes this more playable. The fact that it replaces itself isn't quite as detrimental, especially in that top deck mode, which is where I'm sure we all feel like we're going to draw it during a match. I like that it replaces itself. Creatures you play that are big replace or get you ahead on cards, and it gives those big creatures trample. That's always a good effect for green. Meteorite, some of the best flavor text in the set. And if I'm lying, he began and he got crushed by the meteorite. It's kind of nice, comes in, shocks anything. This should have flash though. I feel for it to really stay on flavor, it should have flash. But then we can tap it. It's literally a huge mana rock. For 5 mana, shock something, tap for 1 land. All right, now we get to see the Boros archetype kind of solidified here. It is truly the homeward bound aggro game plan. When our Alpine Houndmaster comes into play, he also grabs our Alpine Watchdog and our Igneous Cur. So 2 dogs, 2 of the bestest boys to go into battle with him. And then when he attacks, he gets more damage from all the other things attacking with it. Not too shabby. Now we get the card spoiled by Card Kingdom, which is Grasp of Darkness. Target creature, it's -4/-4 till end of turn for 2 black at instant speed. Pretty decent. Cannot complain about that guy. Obsessive Stitcher. I did not expect blue-black to be the graveyard interaction color pairing, but we can tap it, draw a card, then discard a card. So just looting is going to be super helpful. And then if we get something awesome in our graveyard, this lady helps us cheat stuff into the graveyard. Then we can just sack her and bring something obscene back, like those huge whale creatures or Massacre Worm or whatever was removed that we didn't want removed. This card can get spicy as well. Like this, there's a ton of potential here for some awesome combos with her. Fabled Passage. Much appreciated reprint. This card should not be this expensive. Still like an $8+ rare land that was just printed, already coming back. Heroic Intervention, another card that is a great reprint. I remember, okay, so when this thing was first spoiled, it was like over $20. Now it's down to 15-ish for Aether Revolt, only 7 for the core set version. This card will drop, but it is like, if you play Commander, you want this in pretty much every green deck, because why not? Cultivate, super happy, not really, to see a card that was normally a common, now goes shifted up to uncommon, and the collector booster pack version is a rare. The artwork's great, but that doesn't feel great to get a card that I'm assuming is less than $1. Oh, $1, $1.16. I guess that's just that version. Around $1. This card could be as much as $4. Whew. I like the custom artwork. Just wish it wasn't a rare. You can have uncommons have cool custom artwork. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to shift it up to rare just for that. All right, moving on. The Temple, the enemy Temple lands are getting a reprint in this. We just saw them in Core Set 2020 or 2019, 2020. I can think. They're coming back, keeping them in standard. Fantastic. This mountain, though, they crushed it on these fancy lands. I gotta say, Chandra's land looks pretty awesome. The fancy version of Chromatic Orrery, great. Just some fancy artworks. The other card I want to make sure I talked about, Idol of Endurance. This card, I'm like a huge fan of for limited. Even as a top deck, you're super happy because you're going to have the extra mana at that point to play it down and bring something back. And assuming it's really hard to deal with because artifact removal is not often a main decked card, this could get you a ton of value provided you have a decent curve going on. You're not going to be afraid to sacrifice stuff or lose stuff, trade stuff, because you're going to bring it back at some point when you play this thing down. And it's getting you essentially a 3-drop or 2-drop back into play every turn it's around. A lot of potential here. And it helps because often like green, white, white and blue, white and black, you have a lot of low drop cards that may die for whatever reason early game. This helps you bring it back, get more synergy and value from them. Big fan of that. This Monster Meteor, Volcanic Salvo, this will work for anything. It'll work best in the green red deck because you'll have big creatures to help reduce the cost. But 2 removal spells in 1, essentially, not too shabby. Eliminate. I'm kind of bummed that all the planeswalkers in this set are 4 and 5 mana, and this thing only gets rid of 3 cost. Obviously, it'll help with stuff like Oko, which is banned, or 3 Fairy, which we have to wait till our turn to cast it on. There's potential here. It's just not super relevant for the set. It's mostly just going to be instant speed, remove low cost creature your opponent just played. The Goodest Boy, how we doing? I'm glad you got a promo. You deserve that. And then the best borderless card in the set is Baneslayer Angel. This is the card I #1 hope to pull from a booster pack. I don't care how much it's valued at. $25. This thing looks like old, fantastic artwork on a Magic card. This is awesome looking. And if anyone out there is a fan of angels, like I am, trying to build that angel commander deck, this card needs to go in it. Just no exceptions. The borderless version, I must say. What a beautiful card. I mean, this thing's fantastic. And then we just see, oh yeah, okay. So Joel Rayel is our blue-green ideally, but she's just going to be fantastic for everything, assuming green gets some more card draw to help her create more green cat tokens. I'm not like super keen on paying 6 that creatures you control get X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. That's not, I'm imagining, going to be super helpful by the time you can put 6 mana into her for that ability. But maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe there's a ton of card draw on the set. Remains to be seen. This thing is kind of nice. You know, it costs 2 and a blue less if you've cast an instant or sorcery this turn. It's a 3/3 flyer with prowess. For 5 mana is not terrible value. If you play this thing for 2 mana, which I guess you could do it on, especially if Opt is in this set, you could play this thing on turn 3. That would be a problem for your opponent. It just doesn't feel like a super relevant rare at the moment. Like if it had Flash, I'd be way more into it than it just being a cheap 3/3 flyer with prowess. I guess it does scry 2 and it ETBs too. I don't know. Seems decent, helps with the blue-white flying deck. Just doesn't seem like the most exciting rare we've seen thus far. Get some fantastic premium red removal. 4/3 mana, instant speed, 2 and a red. Deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, and it loses indestructible. Don't know how relevant that'll be in limited, but it's just a pretty solid removal spell regardless. We get the green instant that is really going to help with the white-green archetype, that it doubles all 1/1 counters on that creature. I guess it puts one there first. So at the very least, you're getting +2/+2 to that creature permanently, or even bigger. I don't know. I'm hoping that this set doesn't have as much just blanket removal. Like we'll see what black gets in regard to just straight up destroy target creature or whatnot, because that makes it feel a lot better when you're investing enchantments and counters onto creatures that you know it's going to make them harder to remove by your opponent and actually provide value. Because I expect whenever I invest in a creature, it's immediately going to get removed and I'm going to feel all kinds of sad. I'm very curious to see how much removal in this set will handle those kinds of creatures. Then we got the black-red archetype. This is very similar to the one we had again in Core Set 2019. That one you could sack a creature and yours got +2/+2 and Menace, I want to say. This one gets +2/+2 and Trample until end of turn. I was not expecting the Trample, but I'm also curious to see how easily black-red has sacrifice fodder you don't mind getting rid of. You know what I mean? We have that little goblin up there. He can ping something for 1, but you don't often want to play a creature just to sack it and be a pseudo pump spell for a card like that. I don't know. Remains to be seen. There's a ton of cards still left to spoil. Like it says we've spoiled like 175, but you got to think of how many of those are actually unique. Chandra's Incinerator. Look at that art. Look, it's like, it's a person, an elemental on fire. Interesting. Now we already saw these cards, right? These are just the normal artworks. I do like this Bossery full borderless artwork. I got it. These borderless cards, they're still growing on me. I'm more and more a fan of them the more I see them. But that's it. Those are the previews we have so far. Oh, 180 cards have been spoiled. My apologies. All in all, though, this is some exciting stuff. Again, this set has blown the doors off anything I was expecting. I think it's the best core set we've seen since they've came back by far. The value is definitely here. Garruk's back. We're getting a monocolored Planeswalker. We've got awesome reprints. Limited environment looks great. Commander players are stoked about some of the reprints here as well. Yeah, how are y'all feeling about the set? You gonna buy some? If you are, support that LGS. Make sure you buy from your LGS. But if not, roll the clip. You can always pre-order and buy from Card Kingdom. Sealed, singles, whatever you need. They're the best place to buy online. Best customer service. Check them out. Let them know I sent you with my affiliate link. Thank you to them for supporting the channel. Thank you to my patrons. I'm gonna cut back to me now. Here we are. Thank you so much for watching. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're as excited about the set as I am, because this thing's looking great. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.